Welcome to a new episode of 𝗂𝗏 Spotlight. I'm your host, 𝗦𝗶𝗴𝗃. This week, we are covering U.S. consumers experiencing the highest food inflation rates in decades. As prices continue to soar and our bank accounts stay the same, consumers wonder if prices will ever return to what they were pre-COVID and what's ahead in the coming months. To learn more about this topic, I'd like to welcome Dr. Michael Swanson, agricultural economist for Wells Fargo. Dr. Swanson, welcome to the show.
Always a pleasure to talk to this group.
So, Dr. Swanson, consumers have seen inflation rapidly rise over the last 4 years with an increase around 6.1%, while numbers pre-COVID averaged around 0.6% year over year. Can you tell us about this spike and what it means for consumers and the food industry?
Absolutely. There's two parts to it. There's the statistical part to it, which is logical. And then there's the psychological part to it, which is about feelings. And economists sometimes discount feelings more than they should, but sometimes the consumer discounts the logic more than they should also. So hopefully we're going to break this apart and kind of understand why people feel bad about it and why for the producer seller, it's not really as challenging as they might make it out to sound.
What is the cause of these spikes in inflation?
Well, you know what? It was never about a lack of ingredients. So the United States is blessed with a superabundance of raw materials, corn, soybeans, wheat, milk, whatever. So it was about the transformation process. And so many people that are in that transformation process, it's not food until it's on my table and I'm ready to eat it. And so what we saw was a disruption of that transformation process. And it could have been things as simple as people couldn't make it to the factory during COVID, trucks weren't available to move it, the packaging wasn't there, or the packaging was much more expensive than before. And so we went through a very unusual period of time where the transformation process was disrupted, but now it's normalized. It's really interesting to think about all the links in this chain.
And so we are in the summer season. We're in the summer months where barbecues are in full swing. Are there any disruptions in the industry right now with the high demand for poultry and meats? Are these particular items more inflated?
Not at the moment. I mean, we're seeing the industry do an amazing job responding to highly pathogenic avian influenza. I mean, it's been an ongoing problem now for almost a decade. It's periodic and extremely severe. But the industry's learned a lot, and they know how to depopulate and repopulate barns, and they know what to do, and biosecurity gets better. So we still have decent pricing on broiler meat and pork, especially relative to income, which has changed since the start of the recession.
Will limited food inflation relief make it hard for agricultural revenue farmers to receive any profitability?
You know what? Not entirely, not significantly. If you go to the USDA's Food Dollar Series, which is a great place to just kind of spelunk and think if you're in a mood to be doing those type of things economically, you'll see that basically 80% of the cost of food, even at the retail level, at supermarkets, is post-farm. And so farm level income doesn't really benefit from food inflation per se. When you see a big movement in farm level income, it's about specific commodities, droughts, or bumper crops, really hammering that segment. But most of our food expense comes after the farm level, where we transform it, as I said earlier, into the food that we really want to eat. So we're seeing a drop back in farm income, but that's much more about the fact that the scarcity premium from the Russian-Ukraine conflict is receding rather than the fact that food inflation is falling.
Well, Dr. Michael Swanson, agricultural economist for Wells Fargo, thank you so much for your insights today.
Always a pleasure. Hopefully your audience has a good year.
And as always, you can check out more of our great content by clicking on this playlist. Until next time, I'm 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗃 with the Food Institute.